Welcome into the CBS Sports college basketball page. I'm your host, Adam Finkelstein, and we have another exciting commitment ready for you here this afternoon if you're on the East Coast, or to start your morning off if you are on the West Coast. Josh Irving, one of the most talented big men in the national class of 2026, a late bloomer by all accounts. He is set to come off the board. Let's check out his prospect profile. Irving is a four-star prospect ranked 63rd overall in the country, but it is worth noting that that is a big jump that is only bound to continue given the upside that we have seen. He's a top 5 center in the class, top 10 prospect in the state of California, 6'10" and filling out by the day, just has a vast upside and a ton of long-term potential that he's just starting to tap into. Let's take a look at some of these highlights from Team CPSA on the Pro 16 Puma circuit. You can see the length and athleticism here, his ability to not only be an emphatic finisher, but a lob threat and a rim runner here as you see him go side to side on the floor. He's got the defensive versatility as well with his shot blocking prowess, and I think that's really the thing that's most exciting. For as much as we saw him ascend over the course of the last 6 months or so, there's still so much untapped potential. The physical tools, the touch, the hands, the athleticism, they're obvious, but there's still a long runway for him to continue to get better. He accumulated a ton of high major scholarship offers, but ultimately narrowed it down to just these 3 finalists. And today he will be choosing from Kentucky, Louisville, and Texas A&M. So without further ado, we are going to head on out to California and welcome in one of the best big men in the national class, Josh Irving. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me,
All right, Josh. Well, thank you for being here. Before we get started, I want to give you a chance to introduce us to everybody who's here with you on your special day today.
So starting on all the way to my left, we got amazing trainer, Clint. I played on his team this summer. We ended up getting a win, taught me so much over the past couple of years. I got my mom to my left, wouldn't be here without her. My dad to my right, wouldn't be here without him either. I got my amazing coach, high school, he taught me so much, and then got my team, players in the back, and got everybody here.
All right, very cool. Now, Josh, we talked a little bit in the opener just about how much you've improved in the last 6 months. I'm sure that goes even beyond that. Talk to me about your impression of your own development, whether it's in the last year or in the last couple of years, just how much growth you've seen from yourself.
I've seen probably the most growth out of myself than any other player because, I stay in the gym, every day just working. And every game that I play, I was always getting better, doing something new. And that just contributes to all my growth.
And this summer, you saw it result not only in a Pro 16 championship, but in recruitment from some of the biggest programs in all of college basketball. Was that validation for you to see the Blue Bloods coming in and get to go on all those official visits? What was that like for you to get to that point where you realized you had your choice of some of the biggest programs in college basketball?
It felt like such a prize, it's rare you get all the Blue Bloods, all these high-level D1 offers, and it just gave me more motivation, to just keep getting better.
All right, well, Josh, we are almost at that moment. But before we get there, I want to give you a chance to thank anyone who has helped you get to this process. I know you already talked about some of the people around you, but I'm sure there were others who helped you get to this point. So take a moment, recognize anybody you need to acknowledge before the big moment, and then we'll get to the announcement at hand.
So yeah, first off, I got to thank my dad. My dad's taking me to practice every day. He's the one that got me into the game of basketball. And as I said, I wouldn't be here without my dad. He's inspiration, And next, got my mom. She's also taking me to practice every morning, 5 a.m. She's up and she's ready to go. She's done so much for me, in terms of my development. Without both my parents, I literally wouldn't be here right now. And then I got also my trainer, Clint. He's the one that got me going. He saw talent in me and practiced with me every morning. Always told me that he saw something and we just need to keep working. And he was going to get into that level of basketball I want to play at. And next, I got my high school coach all the way at the end. He's the one that originally got me going, high school. He got me as a freshman, He saw that I could be something good, brought me up as a sophomore, and trained with me every morning. He was always telling me, I need you in the 6 a.m., 7 a.m. I want to work with you. You always wanted me to get better, and I was just committed to that. And I just got to thank my team right here. Like, I love all these guys right here. Like, every single one of them, they've all like contributed so much towards me. A lot of love. I play with all these guys. I've had some friends since middle school and still playing with them. There's no better feeling than that.
All right, that is very cool indeed. But Josh, you were about to have another good feeling because you've got 3 fan bases waiting to hear if you're coming to town, and now you get to tell everyone where you're going to be playing your college basketball.
You guys ready?
Let's go, boys. Let's go, boys.
This one?
Can you do it? This one? Does it fit? Oh, I don't think it fits. You ready?
I will be committed to Texas A&M.
All right.
All right, huge news for Texas A&M. Josh, first of all, congratulations. What was it about that program that made you decide they were the spot for you?
The trust that I've seen in those people. I talked to Coach Bucky for a minute, and he saw that he could make me into like the player that I want to be. I envision myself being, and I watched so much film on them. Just their practice, their games, and when he was at Sanford, and I just believe he could really just truly take my game to the next level. As expand my offense. Stretch the floor a little bit. Shooting threes, and he also loves the defense. And I just feel like this program's the best fit.
Now, Josh, they are calling coach's system Bucky ball. I'm not sure if you've seen that, a term that is talks about how fast they like to play, how fast they played at Stanford, how deep their lineups are. How do you see yourself fitting into that up-tempo system?
I can fit in great. I'm already a floor stretcher. I'm sprinting the floor every time, and just seeing their fast-paced offense, just get the ball up as fast as possible. And he told me just sprint to that corner. You sprint under the basket, sprint to the corner. You're going to have wide-open threes, a lot of them. And I just love that offense, just being able to, just quickly get up shots. That gets you more possessions. Everybody touches the ball, and I just feel like I fit best in that type of basketball.
Well, Josh, I'll tell you what, I've been doing this long enough to know that when you have, parents and loved ones shaking their head yes about a style of play, it's a good sign. You got the seal of approval from everyone around you. It is time to go celebrate. Congratulations, and thank you so much for sharing this with us here at the CBS Sports College Basketball page.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
All right, good job.
All right, that is Josh Irving off the board to Texas A&M, and this is obviously very significant. To help us break it all down, I'm going to welcome in 24/7 Sports Director of Basketball, Eric Bossi. And Ebas, this is a prospect that you have gotten to see quite a bit of. Let me start with this. How far is he along the path of turning his potential into consistent production? And then the second part, just how high is his upside?
Okay, for the first part, this is a kid that I saw for the first time last fall, and there was a bit of buzz building about him, and I went and I saw him, and you could see the tools, you could see that he could run, but he was pretty raw. And I told that to the people around him, like, hey, I can see a future where this guy's a high major guy, a nationally ranked guy, but he's not quite there yet. Then you saw him in the winter and he'd taken some steps, and then you see him in the spring and in the summer, and it's like, if he was here last fall, he's here. And he's still got another level that he can climb with this thing. The sprinting from rim to rim is obvious. But what I like that he talked about is the skill aspect of his game, because I think that's the part that he's just in the process of unlocking. And we're going to really see him get a chance to flourish with when he gets to Texas A&M. And, of course, some this year as a senior, because he does have some ability to shoot the ball and stretch the floor. He's got a jump hook. Right now, he's primarily a lob threat and a rim runner, but I'm telling you, that other stuff is coming.
Yeah, I would ask you this. I mean, it seems like his most immediate impact is going to be, as you said, as a rim runner, a lob threat, a finisher, and a shot blocker. But long term, I think his highest upside is going to be by really tapping into that two-way versatility. You heard him talk about his desire to get out and show his ability to shoot the basketball. That's something that's going to have to be both developed and then given a platform to showcase. But even defensively, he's got some mobility for his size. Now, take that into Bucky McMillan's system, which I think was a big part of the allure for Texas A&M, bringing that up-tempo style to the program. How do you see him fitting in a program that is committed to getting up and down so consistently?
Yeah, you better be able to run if you're a big man, right? And he can certainly do that. And they're going to get out and pressure. They want to run some full court presses and things like that. So you need somebody on the back end of that can clean up any mistakes and be that last line of defense at the rim. And that's exactly what Josh is. Like you brought up, the shot blocking is a big part of it. And absolutely, that's a big part of what he does and who he is. And what I love about it is that he doesn't run from it. Obviously, like any big guy, he wants to show what he can do offensively and expand his skill set. But he does know at his core that his biggest value is what he can do in terms of protecting the rim, cleaning the glass. Now, obviously, he's going to need to get a bit stronger. He's still pretty skinny. But the important thing for him, and what I think helped Texas A&M out the most in this, is that he is a guy who needs minutes to develop. And he's walking into a situation where he's going to have the best chance of earning immediate minutes. A&M is going to be losing a lot of big guys in the post. All their scheduled return next year is Jamie Vincent, who's a sophomore this year. So that pathway to playing time, you've always got to earn it, right? But there's not going to be as many people in the way as there might have been at Kentucky or Louisville. And I think that's a big selling point that Texas A&M did a great job of using to their advantage.
And seeing what Bucky McMillan did at Samford when he played so fast, it required him to play with deeper lineups. He played 10 different guys, double-figure minutes last year at Samford. The expectation is that could very possibly continue at Texas A&M. So a good opportunity for Josh Irving to get immediate minutes. We've got much more on this. If you're enjoying the level of analysis, you can head on over to 247sports.com. We've got a commitment story with quotes from Brandon Jenkins, as well as further analysis from myself on how Irving can fit into that Bucky ball system. While you are there, use the promo code COMMIT65 and you will get 65% off all annual VIP memberships. Thanks so much for watching.